New wholesaling regulation just got passed in the state of Kentucky, and some people are saying it's going to ban wholesaling real estate. Some people say it's not banning wholesaling real estate. I have my personal opinion, and what I'm going to do today is really break down this new HB62 law and legislation that just came out in the state of Kentucky. And we're really going to deep dive the real truth of what this law is, what it means, and most importantly, if you don't have a real estate license in Kentucky, how can you keep wholesaling without a license? And I can tell you, you 100% can. And I can say that confidently after talking to lawyers in Kentucky and title companies. But you're gonna have to do things the very right way, because there's gonna be gurus out here saying, oh, if you don't get a license and you don't go under my brokerage, and you don't pay me $5,000 a year for my brokerage fees, you're gonna go to jail for wholesaling, the FBI is going on your door, and you're gonna get in trouble. Now, I would like to tell you that's 100% false, but if you do not follow what other title companies and lawyers say, you could get in trouble. I'm not gonna say you're gonna go to jail for wholesaling, but if you do things in a stupid way, you're probably gonna get stupid problems. So this is why you should stick to the entire video and see exactly how this law is written, the actual legal writings of it, and how to go around it. Now, I will advise everybody, I am not a legal scholar, I am not a lawyer. This is all my personal opinion, and these are my first impressions from reading this law. Now, what I can tell you is, I talked to a lot of people that are legal lawyers and professional legal counsels, and they give me their opinions too, which I give to you. So we have this huge problem in real estate wholesaling where a piece of legislation gets passed and we all assume the world is falling, wholesaling is banned, and everything can stop. And honestly, that's never their issue. We have this thing in the United States called the Constitution Clause, which allows human beings, citizens of the United States, to create, form, and sell contracts. It is in the Constitution. Citizens can form contracts. There's nothing wrong with that. So I first and foremost want to let everybody know the assignment of contract is not banned. It never is going to be banned. In all 50 states, even in Illinois, you can still do assignment of contracts. Now, the one thing they like regulating sometimes is who can form the contract, which I'm not going to get in a legal battle for it. I think just regular citizens should be able to form contracts whenever they want. But some states, mainly just Illinois and possibly Maryland, they want you to be a real estate agent or a licensed agent to write more than 1 or 2 contracts for anything. So if I'm looking just to buy a house or offer a house, they want you to be a real estate agent for that. Now, I don't want to get a whole breakdown today, but there are loopholes if you don't have an agent or if you're not licensed to get around those laws, but I'm not going to get in them today. Talk to a title company or lawyer. There's plenty of people doing it legally. But let's break down this Kentucky law and see what it says. You can see right here when I went and just did some initial research on the law, I have people on Facebook say, oh, they just banned the assignment of contract. That's what it is. I didn't read it. What is it? They banned wholesaling. Wholesaling's banned. Blah. Try to make it all scary and crazy and say wholesaling just got banned. And when I saw that comment, I was like, what? They just said they had banned the assignment of contract and wholesaling in general is banned in Kentucky? That doesn't seem right to me. And knowing Kentucky is a very conservative state, only highly regulatory states like banning things like that, and they like stopping people from engaging their freedom to buy and sell properties as they wish. I knew in my heart, since Kentucky is a conservative state, they're not going to ban mom and pop shops and regular old people from buying and selling pieces of real estate without a real estate agent. That's not how the state works. So I knew that guy was lying and fibbing a little, but I didn't know what to believe. So I went and actually looked up what HB62 is. Let's get behind the computer and let's break this all down. So here's the bill. It hasn't been passed from the Senate or signed by a governor yet, so it's not an official law yet. But this is what the unofficial bill looks like. And obviously they're gonna change things when they're voting on it. But pretty much what it is, it just amends the Real Estate Brokerage Act. Now, I will tell you, I do believe if you're going to broker real estate, you're going to try to sell real estate on someone's behalf, like a listing, which what traditional brokers do, you probably should have a license for it. Now, I'm not the biggest guy for regulatory stuff and to go and have the law go into my business, but I might not 100% agree with it. But I do understand where they're coming from, and I don't have a problem per se with it. Now, when it comes to wholesaling real estate, which is real estate investing for individual liberties, that's another thing. But all I'm doing right here is I'm going up here, I'm reading it. It says what real estate brokerage is. It says means a single, multiple, or continuing act of dealing in timeshares, options, selling or offering for sale, buying or offering to buy, negotiating the purchase, sale, or exchange of real estate, engaging in property management, leasing or offering to lease, rent or offering for rent, referring or offer to refer the purpose of securing prospects any real estate improvements for a fee, compensation, or other valuable consideration. That's what real estate brokers has basically been forever. If I'm getting a fee for something, a commission for negotiating, selling, buying real estate, and I get a fee, not an assignment fee, no, an actual commission, that's real estate brokering. If I buy and sell something, selling an equitable interest in a deal, that's an assignment fee or a finder's fee. That is outside the purview. Now, the new legislation added an additional 2 sentences. And you can see it highlighted here, semicolon, and B, including advertising for sale an equitable interest in a contract for the purchase of real property between a property owner and prospective purchaser. That's pretty much what they had, and that's what it is. Now, what is that? Did this say that you cannot assign a contract? Does it say you can't buy a piece of real estate without being a license? Is it saying the assignment of contract's banned if you don't have a realtor license? No, it's none of those things at all. It's basically saying you can't advertise your equitable interest in a contract, and that's pretty much what it means. Now, what's Zach's definition of this, and what does this really mean for wholesaling houses? I mean, honestly, between you and me, what they're trying to do here is ban the assignment of contract, but they don't have any legal right to ban assignment of contracts or wholesaling at all. And they know the government would never accept that because they're in a conservative state. So the next best thing they're going to do, which is borderline unconstitutional in my opinion, is trying to stop people from advertising the equitable interest, because if you can't advertise it, then you can't wholesale it per se. Now, obviously, they wrote this in a way where there are loopholes and they just want to feel good that they did something. My best is the National Association of Realtors probably gave these people a couple $1 million to go pass this law. So honestly here, they don't want you to advertise per se your equitable interest in a deal. Now, what is advertising, right? So I went through this whole bill. I went through the whole definition. They show what real estate means, right? They show what principal broker, they tell what a commission is, property management. They have all these definitions of basically everything they said, but they seriously have no definition of what advertising is, right? And they add an extra thing here, advertise for sale and equitable interest in a contract. That's all they literally put. They tell me no definitions. Now, the one thing here is when you have a guru that'll go out here and tell you that real estate wholesaling, if you don't do it right, you're going to jail. Well, this law basically states here that the Kentucky Real Estate Commission may seek and obtain injunction relief against any individual acting in violation of this chapter by filing a civil action in the circuit court where the commission is located, where the unlawful activity took place. So they're not saying you're going to jail. They say you could get civil action against you. But I couldn't literally find any definition with advertising for sale the equitable interest is, because they made it very, very loose, because they don't really want to do anything with this law. They're just trying to feel like they did something. And so is advertising publicly marketing for sale of property on Facebook or Craigslist? Is it calling up my cash buyers? Is it sending a bunch of emails out? What is advertising? I got no definition here. And so let me give you my quick opinion and thoughts of this really quick. Between you and me, I've honestly found the best way to get around this is by just double closing, honestly. This is when you purchase a property and then go back and sell it the same day, minute, or hour. And really, you're not advertising your equitable interest in a deal. You're actually selling a piece of real estate you are going to own. And so double closing pretty much just stood the test of time. If you're gonna make 50, 60, 70, 80 grand on a deal, you should just double close it. And so this gets around this law, it's a loophole. That's gonna be the easiest thing for most people here. But what I wanna do is really break down, what does the Kentucky Real Estate Board consider advertising? And from there, I actually had to go read more legislation and read more definitions, which is not my favorite thing to do. So I had to go to the KREC Regulation, Advertising Administration Regulation updates, and then I had to go read this entire stupid thing to get some sort of definition. It talks about display of content if you're a realtor. Something interesting is it's saying that the requirements of the above subsection shall not apply if you're advertising with a hat, pen, or notepad, which is sticky notes, could be interesting, but really nothing too interesting going on here. Now, they did update the definition of what's not advertising, so it doesn't really give me too much, but Kentucky's definition here, which they just passed, and now here's the issue. This is the definition of the Kentucky Real Estate Commission, not the actual definition of advertising in the law. So this is the definition, if you're a real estate broker, what advertising is. Now, what is advertising in that specific law? Because they're trying to, in that law, talk about what advertising is if you do it without the license. Now it's saying within a license, what is advertising within it? This gets a little squirrely because you need to give me a definition of the actual bill. You can't go inside the real estate commission and make your definition for real estate licensees only without telling me what the actual definition of advertising is in that bill. Because these are two separate definitions, and I'm only going after one right here to sort of understand what they're trying to mean. But the bill is loosely done, and clearly if they wanted to use this definition, they would say advertising, definition of what the Kentucky Real Estate Board says. They did that on purpose to put that out because they actually don't want to use this definition. But let me see what the definition says here. It basically says advertising is any manner, method, or activity by which a licensee of the commission, hence, if I'm illegally, quote unquote, advertising equitable interest, I'm not a licensee, so this definition does not count for me. I need the bill's definition, so this is just letting everybody know. Of the commission makes known a specific property for sale or lease or services in which real estate license is required. Now, this was done in 2020, not in 2023, currently right now with this bill. So we're kind of up in the air right now still of what's going on with this definition. So we have more questions than answers on this, but let me just wrap up my conclusion here. In my personal opinion, the assignment of contract was not banned. It's clearly not banned on here. They're trying to stop you from advertising your equitable interest in a contract, and you have to be licensed to do that. Now, the thing is, to go out here and advertise, we don't know what that means, and they didn't give a definition. For example, in Kentucky, there's laws saying I can't do forgery, which is a very common thing, and it's something that should be against the law, to forge someone's signature. Now, if you don't give me a definition of forgery, or if you don't give me a definition of falsifying something, then it's gonna be very hard to go pursue someone in that law. Because does forgery mean I'm signing someone's signature for them on their behalf or as a secretary of a company with their permission? Or does it mean I'm copying it without someone's permission? Without those two definitions, people who are legally doing the right thing could get in trouble without proper definitions. And this is the problem with Kentucky's law. It is done very weirdly. So I would say just be careful with it. Honestly, what I can tell you is I'd probably double close if you're not have a real estate license. For some wholesalers, you might just want to get a license and not deal with the headache of this law. But really, what I want you to do is ask a lawyer at a title company in Kentucky what they think of this law. And honestly, if they're okay with it, you should do it if they're your lawyer giving you legal counsel. Here's some questions you should ask the title company to see if this is ways you can get around the law or not when you're talking to a lawyer about this. Now, I'm not a legal advisor, I'm not a lawyer, so this is not what I'm telling you to say. This is not a loophole. This is stuff you should ask. With this law, is it illegal for me to talk to a cash buyer talking with a private deal in person? If I call up somebody saying, hey, I was looking at a piece of real estate, and you mention the price and you mention that you might look to buy it, you're not mentioning that it's for sale. You're just mentioning you're looking to buy it and maybe they want to partner up with you on the deal. Is that a loophole around the law? These are things you should be asking. Asking a cash buyer if they can give you a quote on a piece of real estate you're looking at and they go see it with you. And then you mention that you're going to go buy the deal. And if they want to partner up with you on this and you happen to assign the contract, is that against the law or not? I don't know. There's a lot of interesting loopholes and ways to get around this Kentucky law that I think you should be looking at. For most people that are doing a lot of deals, maybe you should get your real estate license. It's not the worst thing in the world for you. But honestly, between you and me, if I'm making the money I'm making right now, nothing really changes for me because my acquisitions agents and a lot of my dispositions people, they're licensed real estate agents. So I don't really have to worry about this law too much, and I don't have to deal with the real estate commission going after me. And honestly, that's the way I do it. I'd probably double close on most of my deals right now and get the best prices on them from my title company. But look at it yourself. This law is very interesting. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with it, but it's 100% not banning the assignment of contract, and it's not something you should be freaking out over. Honestly, some of the bad wholesalers that get bad information are probably gonna leave Kentucky. And I can tell you right now, Lexington and Louisville are some of the best wholesaling markets in the country. And so if you're seeing this law, you should probably be celebrating because a lot of your competition is gonna leave. And a lot of people who are too scared to virtually wholesale here, it's gonna leave amazing wholesaling opportunities if you just double close or use any of the strategies or thoughts I might have had today. So guys, that is the law. That's my thoughts on it. And honestly, it's not the end of the world. If you got any value from this video, do me a big favor. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe if you want to learn how to double close and things like that. Go to my free real estate wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com. This is Zach Ginn signing out. I'll see you guys soon. Have a blessed one.